honestly, these days, I think it really comes down to. I know this is going to sound so bad, and I have how many therapists here? Two therapists here. Um, I think I just suppress it as far down as possible and just cowboy up. And hey, you know what? Life sucks so many times. Bidenomics makes everything harder. The world is not a kind place, but I surround myself with good people. If I need to talk, there's always people out there who will listen, but more often than not, you just cowboy up and push on. Um, Luckily, I have a loving wife who supports the hell out of me. Um, and I have kids who hate me right now because they're at that teenage stage, but that comes with the territory. But no, in reality, I think I just a lot of times will just bottle it all up, stuff it down as far as possible, and it's definitely not easy. But yeah, I think that's mainly what I do these
That's
days.
that Jewish resolve we all want to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the most saddest answer we've ever had on this podcast, bro. Like,
I'm just slowly dying on the inside from the deepest depths of my soul.
I live in
this is the problem.
I live in hope and die in despair.
This is the problem.
The world is a terrible place.
This is the problem, right? If you turn to a rabbi and you're like, Rabbi, I am having mental issues. It's like, well, what's wrong? I'm like, well, I don't understand why God is doing this. They're going to tell you this one line, Gam Zu Latova. It basically translates from Hebrew to English to everything's for the best. Well, when you're told constantly your entire life that, hey, everything's for the best, God has a plan. Well, how do you combat God's plan, right? Right?
Yeah, I know better.
Right, exactly. You can't combat God's plan. So what do? Right? Again, this is coming from an Orthodox Jew. What do? I can talk to Eddie. I can talk to Jake. I can talk to Mike. Kevin, I'll talk to you too. I'll talk to any of you guys. And some of the issues I have is, well, why is this happening to me? Well, that's a more of a theological question versus a real mental issue, if you will.
Right.
But when you can't combat God's plan, the only thing to do is bottle it up, cowboy up, and just wait for your turn. Just keep on doing what you're doing until something good happens to you. And that's what I mean, right? It's not necessarily like I think you guys both know I'm pretty mentally healthy to the most part, right? Like, we've talked numerous times, and got Jake and Mike. How many times have I called you guys with so many different questions about so many different things, getting your advice, right? Like, someone who's not
pull
mentally
up your tab if you want me to give an accurate answer.
Exactly. No, but like, how many times have I called you? If someone who's not mentally healthy won't call friends to ask for advice or help,
Right.
But most of my mental, breakdowns these days come from like, well, I'm 40 years old. I've got 4 kids, and social media is killing my business so bad that I now have to start and find something new. Well, that
And you're bald.
sucks. And I'm bald, right? And I'm short, and I have a big Jewish nose. And I wish I was a doctor, a banker, or a lawyer, but I didn't get those genes either, right? And now you bring out the Jewish guilt and the arguing with me, right? You have all of that, and it's just one of those things that, like, what are you supposed to do, right? There's nothing to do but bottle it up, right? When you go approach a rabbi and all those things, like, well, God has a plan. Everything's for the best. Just keep praying that good things will happen. I'm like, well, that's bullshit. Like, I don't want to. I want an answer. I want an answer. But those are the answers you get. So instead of me going and getting pissed off at all the rabbis, I'm like, okay, you know what? Life sucks. I get it. It sucks for a lot of people in this world nowadays. I'm going to bottle up all my anger and all my, my depression that I'm getting from, feeling like I'm a total loser because I can't make a living at 40 years old. And you know what? I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep trucking away, and eventually it'll happen. And when it happens, I'm not going to have these issues anymore. So I think that's really, I mean, I get it's the most depressing answer you've ever heard, but I think coming from the religious side versus, like I said, I have a very healthy relationship with my wife. We've been together for 17 years. I'm still madly in love with her. I love my kids. I love my friends in the gun industry. But the things that are missing are more of a theological uh, beef that I have. And like again, there's no coming back from that, right? That's just between you and God, and you got to figure that out.
And to put a bow on this, the catharsis and the cathexis, right? Ooh.
All right.
We don't want to build up stuck energy just to release it in a big explosion and then do it again, right? And there's an in-between called ebullition. It's an effervescence. It's a flow. And what you're describing there, I don't think is a bottling up. I think it's an accurate acknowledgement of reality. You're aligning your expectations appropriately and you're moving on. And that's healthy. That's super healthy. And to
Good,
say,
so I'm not screwed up.
You can't argue God's plan because it's not for us to know. Our feeble human brains want to know because we're arrogant and, boxed in by our feeble little brains. But that's what faith is. It's a belief in something unseen that is ultimately it's for the good. And if you rest in that, you're going to have peace. So